Alright guys, I'm back with my anime season prediction for which one I think is going to be the best. I'm 0 for 1 right now because even though I really did enjoy the Spider anime, it wasn't my favorite because it kind of fell off at the end, to me anyways, and I really didn't like any of the parts where it focused on like the other characters. I see why it's doing it, or I think I do anyways, from what it's alluding to, from what I saw in the first season. But yeah, it's I just could not care less about any of the other characters except for the spider herself. So it kind of fell down the tier for me. I think I actually enjoyed Slime way more than I thought I was going to. It had a really good payoff this season, so I really like that. I do see what people are saying where it's not the same as the Slime anime, but I still think I was correct by saying the premise was the same. All right, now to my actual prediction. Sorry, I went on that tangent, but it's Shakunetsu Kabaddi. I said it wrong. But yeah, it's sports anime, which are my favorite anyway, so I'm a little bit biased already. But the things I loved that they did in the first episode, Jesus, my words are getting all slurred. But they showed like that this really crazy, strange world game has like a ton of complexity to it, and personalities can have like a. There's so many things that could have an impact on like how people play this game or sport. It's not a game apparently to these people. Like it's an actual serious sport. And I've seen it in gag animes before, and I never really understood it, but now I get it. Um, so I'm gonna tell you what I understood from the first episode, what Kabaddi is. So you got two players, one's on the offense and one's on the defense. The rating player, when they cross the halfway point on the mat, they have to start saying Kabaddi for as long as they can hold one breath, which I don't really like. So thinking about this sport, I wouldn't like to play it myself, but watching this is going to be pretty freaking amazing because they have to basically say Kabaddi, Kabaddi, Kabaddi in one breath. Like they can't take another breath. See, I don't trust people enough to do that in real life, but in the anime, you just assume that they're doing the right thing. That might be brought up later with like a one of those characters you know who's obviously cheating, and everybody like hates this dude. Um, and then they have to touch someone, and once they touch someone, it becomes a struggle, and they have like this cool animation where it's like struggle, like a fighting game just started, and you can hold the person that's saying Kabaddi on your side of the field, and if they don't get back across, instead of them getting a point, you get a point. So basically, the offensive person is trying to touch you and get back to his side of the field. If he doesn't get back to his side of the field, it's actually a negative thing for him. Um, so there's players that just probably want to avoid people until the timer runs out, until they can't say Kabaddi anymore. And there's also players which they showcased, which was amazing. So, and this is gonna have like episode one spoilers because I'm talking about the show and the premise. But there's also characters that are going to want to get caught because they're just so physically dominant that they'll be able to catch you back when you touch them. They're going to grab you back and hold you there, so you can't get back to your side of the line. And there's also going to be characters that like let you catch them um, when they're on offense. Like say they touch you and um, they let you catch them, so you could try to drag them. They just drag you anyways because there's so much. Like I think one of the dude's things was like his center of gravity was so strong because he's short and he was getting underestimated. But his center of gravity and all the things he'd been doing throughout his life gave him like super pull. And the main character, I like the main character a lot so far. Um, he could still go like the bad, typical, annoying ass main character route where he's just like so detrimented by his past experiences. But he seems like a character that's like really honest with himself, which I like a lot because when he starts to enjoy comedy, he's not like basically being like, "Oh, I can't enjoy this," blah 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 blah, throughout the whole episode, and this is gonna be a recurring thing, and they're just gonna make this drag out. He actually seems to realize it himself in the first episode that he does enjoy it. Another thing I like, which is super high praise, is the vice captain reminds me of Hiruma Yoichi from Aisho 21. And that's one of my favorite characters. Aisho 21 is a top 5 anime for me. Actually, my cousin started watching it recently, which made me kind of happy because I think he's starting to get into sports animes. It's one of my all time favorites. It's more of a it's kind of like a shonen sports anime, which I'm usually not a big fan of, like Yaomushi Pedal. I hate Kuroko no Basket, even though I finished it, because it gets all like Kuroko no Basket is the worst. When they start flying around the stadium and stuff, it's stupid, bro. And I'll probably go offend some people, but I hate that anime. And that's just my preference. Some people like shonen animes, but I like sports animes. This one, it actually looks like it's going to be more of a sports thing, kind of like All Out. If you watch the rugby anime, that's kind of what it reminds me of. But the characters seem more interesting and fleshed out so far. I mean, I'm going off episode one, and it honestly seems like the personality of the characters is going to have like a big impact on this. How the character, there's probably going to be all the types, the archetypes you see in a sports anime. The super strong character, the character that's shifty and evil and doesn't play by the rules. You're probably going to see all that, but I like that. I love the sports animes. And so far, all the characters seem pretty interesting. Nobody's annoying yet, which is great, and that's my standard of annoying. Like the super weak protagonist. And I don't mind weak protagonists because obviously I like Kabaya Kawasuna from iShield 21. But when they don't grow and they revert a lot, that gets on my nerves. Oh my god, dude, that is one of the most annoying things. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, but I can't at the moment. There's a character that was just like Kabaya Kawasena. It almost looks like exactly like him, but he just kept reverting. I just hope there's nobody that scales too crazy. I hope it stays like pretty in the realm where it's like challenging for both teams and it's like leaves me on suspense. I hope they also show like different teams playing as well, because it's a little bit predictable. Not saying that the protagonist team's always going to win. I watched a basketball anime where the protagonist team never won. I can't remember the name of it, but that was painful, boy. That was that was painful. I watched like 30 episodes of that before I quit watching. I was like, bro, he ain't never gonna win. I think it was the Sora anime, and I like the start of that, but goddamn, dude, you gotta win eventually. They probably did by this point, but Jesus. Um, so I hope they keep the protagonist battles like pretty like evenish at the start, and like there's some real tangible threats. And I kind of hope, I doubt it because this might be a 12 episode anime, but I kind of hope there's a tournament arc where we can see other teams doing kabaddi and like get a full like viewing of like two opposing teams that seem really strong going at it. That's one thing that King and Ashura makes it a really good martial arts anime, because Oma's fights are pretty predictable, I think. Even though I think he does lose one, I think it's been pretty predictable so far. But all the side fights, like some of those I can't predict. Like, I'm not going to spoil any of them, but that's the stuff I like. Because you pretty much know the protagonists are either going to win or they're going to lose big at the end of the season or something, because that's just how anime works. Like, I don't know when that started becoming a thing, but it became like super prevalent where they get to the very end and then they lose. God damn, it's aggravating, dude. Um, but I really like that the main character has like a personality that seems like it's going to be super OP for comedy, and it probably will be at some point, but he's not starting out OP. He's not just like a god at comedy, but he is analyzing it like really quickly, which I think is cool. Like he's planning through it, and even while he's planning through it, he's not winning like automatically because he's the main character. I think that's great, because that annoys the crap out of me when they're just like, "Oh, I'm already the best," and then eventually I'm just going to get shut down by somebody like halfway through the season. They're going to be like the number one school in the district and get just absolutely shut down. This dude's having to learn from the ground rules. And I'm sure there's a lot of things, like a lot more niches that they're probably going to talk about, or they just unloaded them in the first episode. Because the first episode took me by surprise. Because, like I said, it looked like something that was like a dumb kid's game. But it was so in depth in like how they were pursuing it. I already explained the rules to you pretty much, but the way they were tackling them, just it kind of seemed like it kept evolving. Like they were talking about how you need to be spatially aware of like your side of the mat and how you can use your teammates. And we haven't even seen like a full on, like, I don't know how many people play out. It might be 2v2, I'm not sure. But we haven't even seen a full on match yet, it doesn't seem like. I also like that the main character has his own motivations and it's getting abused by the Hiruma Yoruchi character. Uh, as someone that does YouTube, I found that pretty interesting. I honestly thought at the start that he had left his like recording on when somebody was talking to him in his chat and they knew what he was talking about. I was like, God dang, that's rough, man. Because I've left my streams on before, not doing anything too bad, luckily. But yeah, I've left my streams on before too. But that's not what it was. It was just the vice captain dude's like a super nerd, and yeah, this seems like a sport that it's not even just like obviously being stronger is going to give you an advantage, but it seems like there's a lot of technical skill to it. Like the nerdy guy seemed like he's probably the best one out of all of them so far, and the captain, which we haven't seen him do anything yet, but he's sickly. But I bet they're the two most OP people in the club right now, and they're not the most physically gifted, but they're probably just so smart at comedy and have such like a high IQ at the sport. But yeah, this is my prediction for the season. I'll let you know if I'm wrong or right at the end of the season again. I might start doing anime reviews again, but I'm not going to do the pictures anymore because it's just a pain in the ass. It's just going to be me talking. It's easier. I might learn to do like some transition slides. Like, I've been watching a dude do Bleach reviews recently, and he'll like talk like the whole time like I do, and then he'll have like a transition slide of like a panel or something that shows like what the anime looks like kind of thing, or like an action scene or something like that. I thought that was really cool. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that because my editing skills are like way down here, but we'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching as always, guys. Bye.